Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you a quick one, just because it's an idea that I'm surprised hasn't been capitalized on as far as I've seen so far. And it's definitely for a faction that you can tell by the title and thumbnail, uh, doesn't necessarily need the extra boost right now. Yep, it's a Necrons video, and I noticed something when I was looking at the stats for Tyrannage that Hypercrypt Legion was doing the worst out of the Necrons detachments, getting beat out by, well, of course, the new shit, but also Awakened Dynasty, um, and Canoptic Court, even though it's like two players each, one a difference of one game, but 22% in Hypercrypt Legion. And this surprised me not because I think that Hypercrypt is better than Pantheon of Woe. Um, well, I will say this is kind of interesting that 11 players, nobody got the tourney win, even though there's a 67% win rate. And that's because I think Pantheon of Woe does have like a bit of holes that makes it topple, which I guess that's going on there. But that aside, Hypercrypt Legion is flexible. It's more flexible than Canoptic, than Curse Legion, Pantheon. Like, so that's why I was confused that it's at the bottom, especially when you can set up castles. Well, not castles, monoliths. But jokes aside, though, it's a tactic that me as a tyranny player is a bit more familiar with, and it's not a stranger to Necrons too. But when it comes to Hypercrypt, there's now an avenue to really make a turbo kill death zone and drop it. More or less, right? You have, yeah, they drop down the amount of units that you can drop down, but with all of this, it still gives you positioning. With a deep strike detachment, you still get positioning. And there's also still things good in it. You have a Risen Tyrant, da 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 da. And well, I know that we're all focused on the new Catans. I guess I shouldn't say all, but most of us are focused on the new Catans. There's, and I don't think that Hypercrypt Catan spam is the way to go right now because they have Deep Strike, so like it filled a weakness, you can bring them, and I guess that frees up the other two spots. Like now you don't have to use your slots for, well, two going on three slots hyperphasing for Catan because they have Deep Strike now. But we can go back to somebody tried and true that was in Hypercrypt, the Silent King. And now, I'm not coming here to make a groundbreaking, oh my gosh, did you know you could put the Silent King in Hypercrypt Legion? It's more so, hey, you can have the Silent King have an area of which reroll hit rolls of one and reroll wound rolls of one, but instead of trying to finagle this shit uh, down the board, you can drop him, and there's a new unit, Necrosaur Mentor, that has an aura as well. That is Infectious Murder Madness. While a friendly Necrons unit that isn't Titanic is within 6 inches of this model, each time a model in this unit makes an attack, if that model has the Destroyer Cult keyword or is attacking the closest eligible target, sustained hits 1. And if you are just dragging and dropping your shit, sustained hits 1, reroll hit rolls of 1, reroll wound rolls of 1, possibly lethal hits on some of the shit considering how much gouge there is. Um, I just I just think like this is an easy layup that I'm not seeing people capitalize on, and you'd go, "Oh, it's expensive," which I'm not going to tell you it's not because there's a good chance that you're still bringing a monolith because we'll get to that in a bit too. But if you look at the Pantheon of Woe list, and if you look at just the history of Hypercrypt Legion list, this is still cheaper than what the fuck has been happening. So it's kind of interesting that I'm not seeing. I put Silent King and Necrosaur a Mentar here. And Necrosaur has Deep Strike. So you don't even have to like use a hyper phase slot for Necrosaur if you're playing it right. Well, actually, just don't in general because you can pick them back up and shit. Um, but just here's my Deep Strike here. Here's my Silent King over here, and then here is my probably Destroyer Cult backslash Infantry. Because if it's Destroyer Cult, all right, let's say that you are bringing some Locust Heavy Destroyers that are benefiting from rerolls, hit rolls of one, and wound rolls of one, and getting sustained hits one. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good, and you could just put them where that needs to happen because with your two spots outside of making the third, right, with Dimensional Overseer, you could just keep doing that, and that's the detachment rule. Like you could just do that. Um, and we can still come down to the fact with Dimensional Corridor, I know it's 2 command points, but your charge phase, one Necrons unit that was set up on the battlefield using Eternity Gate ability of a monolith that started on the battlefield this turn. You know what else is a Destroyer Cult unit? But we did this before, Scorpex. And Scorpex are infantry. So drag and drop them around. Necrosaur Mentor, reroll, sustained, lethals, dev wounds if you pop the plasma site. Like, I feel like these are free points that I'm not understanding why we haven't revisited Hypercrypt in Force. Like, this is pretty much what somebody would want out of these units. And then to take it a step further, again, an old friend that has happened in this detachment, Illuminor Ceres. So if you are going for battle line route, and again, if you want to go for uh, Gauss instead of Tesla, right? Let's put some Immortals, right, to get lethal hits next to the closest eligible because you're dragging and dropping units. Both of these motherfuckers can get loan up, Necrosaur and uh, Xeris. Drag and drop, sustained, lethal, rerolls for the price of your detachment roll. Like, I'm just saying, this is a pretty good setup that, yeah, requires some amount of finagling, but it's still not as much as has been. Like, there's been harder finagling to be had. And that's outside of if you want to do a monolith or not. Monolith is 400 points. And it does have Eternity Gate to help this out with it being if you want to do score picks or you want to do immortals with these types of setups. Eternity Gate in the reinforcement step of your movement phase, you could select one Necron's infantry unit from your, or I guess you could do warriors too. Sorry, from your army that is in reserves or on the battlefield. Da 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 da. That unit is set up anywhere on the battlefield that is wholly within 6 inches of this model and not within engagement range of any enemy units. Cool. Deep strike 6 inches infantry. All right, we understand that. We understand that. Um, and then you just override shit with dimensional corridor. And you can also, the other thing is hyperphasic recall. That's also 2 command points. I know, but you probably could still fit Ematech somewhere in here if you wanted to. But opponent shooting phase or fight phase just after enemy unit has shot or fought. Infantry, one or more models destroyed, and one monolith. Remove your infantry from the battlefield and set it up anywhere within 6 inches of the monolith, not within engagement range of one or more enemy units. I just feel like the field is free as fuck. Necrosaur is infantry. Destroyer Cult looks better now because of Necrosaur. It's I'm just surprised that with this now being possible, I'm not seeing more Hypercrypt numbers. And yes and no. I guess I'm more so surprised that people ran back to Star Shatter before Hypercrypt. Because we all knew everybody was going to try Pantheon. We all knew that Awakened was still going to be a thing. And of course, you were going to try Cursed and Cryptic. Like, you were going to try the new shit. No shit. But I'm surprised that the prevailing, oh, Star Shatter was our last best one, last best new one that wasn't index, that people went back to Star Shatter compared to taking the new toys and going to Hypercrypt. Like, if now you have a deep striking this guy, and say you don't want to do the monolith route, right? Say we're just going to the new Catan that now have deep strike, so you don't have to waste that too. I'm surprised that we're just not going that way. Where it's kind of surprising to me. But I say all this to say that you don't have to do what you don't want to do. I'm just here to pitch the idea because it seems like an easy situation that might be annoying for the opponent and might be a good fallback plan when whatever the hell gets nerfed, as it probably will with numbers looking like that. So, yeah, if you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.